All right. So, something that I was struggling with was postpartum depression. Now, you all hear that and you have your own opinions about it. Let me just go ahead and say that trigger warning, and it's not what you think. It can be more. And I wanted to share this a long time ago because what I use my platform for is speaking up. I speak on going through hardships, I speak on mental illness, I speak on family relationship barriers, breaking generational curses, stuff like that. My page has always been towards that. Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this video between 5 to 7 minutes. If you have the attention span, you'll learn something. You might be able to help someone. If you don't have the attention span, you won't make it through this video. And thus, you won't learn anything and you won't be able to ever help anyone. Okay? My doctors, when I first had my kids, I have tight relationships with doctors. I'm gonna always, I believe in being honest with them because if you're not, you can't get help. But this is where stuff started to change for me and it started making things difficult because the thoughts that I had, I was afraid to tell them. And I was afraid to tell them because one, I became a single mother. Two, I didn't have one kid, I had 2 kids. Okay? So, and three, I moved to a whole new area around people I didn't know for a new job. And the pay was extremely low. And so I was constantly fighting my brain about financial stability. Okay. I had thoughts of unaliving myself and my kids. I didn't want to tell my doctor because it went deeper than that. It went into thoughts of, I will drive off this cliff. Like, I'm driving random, and the thoughts are like nagging. They're just very persistent. Now, what doesn't make any sense, and what bothers me is the fact that I love kids, okay? I got a teaching licensure for K through 12 because I love kids. I stayed in this program at UNC Greensboro that helped kids ages 3 to 18 because I love kids. So for me, this was hard because it's like I'm telling myself, no, I'm not. Every chance I get, it's like I'm fighting something and I didn't know what I was fighting. The thoughts were, you're gonna hurt your kids. You're gonna drown your kids. Your kids are about to drown. Why don't you just drown them? Or you could just slip into this tub. You can go to sleep. Or you could take pills. I don't even have pills, y'all. Anyone who knows me knows I don't take medicine. So, okay, you're never gonna be a good mother. You're never gonna be fit for motherhood. You don't have the best role models. You're never gonna love your kids. Your kids are gonna hate you. So why would you even let your kids be around? Like, why would you even stay around your kids? Ooh, if you drop your kids off at that person's house, someone's gonna hurt them. Someone's gonna rape your kids. Someone's gonna molest your kids. Someone's gonna sexually assault your kids. You're gonna sexually assault your kids. Somehow, like, you're just not the best person for them. And this is when I'm telling you how you're hearing this, it's like it's yelling, straight yelling in my brain. And these were the first few months where I just became a mother, right? And then they become louder. Like, depending on how you're feeling, they would become louder. And I couldn't talk to anyone about it, so I'd just sit in the house. I wouldn't go anywhere because I'm like, they're gonna see how bad of a mother you are. They're gonna see that you're not doing a good job. They're gonna find a way to take your kids away from you. Your kids should go to foster care. That's when my brain started. I started thinking, should I put my kids in foster care? And I'm like, why would I think that? Like, I was in foster care. I would never want my kids to be in that system. Like, unless you've been in that system and had a great experience, you're the other part of the system that doesn't have a good experience, okay? The thoughts keep happening. You're gonna lose everything. They're better off without you. Why are you even on this earth? Let's see, what else? Like anything you can think of. Kyle's sitting in the tub. Yeah, drown him. Yeah, he's gonna drown. Yeah, you know that the water's too high and you're just letting it happen. He was in this much water and he was in a extra bathtub, and these thoughts were just pounding my head. And Kyle was looking at me like he was just staring at me. He did not lose eye contact with me the whole time. And that calmed me down one day, and it silenced them. And I won't say silence them as in like they went away. I'm saying silence as in like in that moment, it was like, I don't know what was happening for me to have calmed down like that and for it to just have disappeared, like the thought process. Of course, it comes back. It came back in waves. Like Kosa keeping me up at night. I was up every 2 hours just for Kosa alone. And then in between those times, I was up for Kyle. So there was a lack of sleep. Like when these mothers are sitting here telling you that they're exhausted, don't say, oh, you got this, mom. Offer them some support. I'm not just speaking for myself, because luckily I really did have a support system once I kind of opened up about some things, but I never opened up about this side. And I never opened up because, do you hear how scary these thoughts are? Oh, you're gonna burn your kids. Oh yeah, bring them to the pot. Ooh, bring the pot to them. Your kids are are outside. They're gonna get hit by a car, and you're gonna go to jail for forever, and you're just gonna have to live with the fact that that's what happened. Ooh, your kids are gonna kill each other. Don't you hear how many stories about twins eating each other up in the womb and fighting each other whenever they get older? And my brain, like my head, my heart, everything was just I had my kids September 27th of 2022. I'll tell you that January 1st, I stepped into church again. And I tried to go every single Sunday until I got exhausted even more of trying to get to church to help me find some faith in something, someone, myself. Okay, I went over 7 minutes, so we'll just mark it at 10. If you follow this long, thank you for listening. And when my doctors would ask, are you okay? I see here that you kind of marked that your mood is like a 3, because I don't like lying. I'd be like, yeah, it just comes in waves. And they're like, okay, how are you thinking? Do you have help? And I'm like, at the time, no, I didn't, because when I first had my kids, I had just moved to that place. So I'd only been there for maybe about a month. So no one really knew me like that, except for the girl who does security. And I won't say her name, just out of, because of this video. But she was the one who had a key to the house and would stop in, and she would run Kosa's legs. That was the only relief that I had up until another girl came in, and I won't say her name because of the type of this video that this is, and she just made me sleep. And then there's my third, who is my long-term friend from college, who drove all the way up from Winston-Salem to Virginia. Again, won't say her name because, these three don't understand how much they changed the direction for me just slightly. It wasn't like I was, turning and then they whipped me back straight, but they eased the thoughts and they didn't even know. One would just come to speak to me. One would come to cook for me, and then the other one would come to help me with Kosa with running his legs because he had colic, so he was constantly screaming, and he is my NICU baby. So I remember waking up in the middle of the night with him screaming when I hadn't got any sleep for the past 3 days. And I yelled at him, and I dropped down on the floor and started crying my eyes out just because I felt like the worst mother in the world because I couldn't get any sleep. And I'm trying to produce breast milk because my baby is underweight, and I have one that requires more attention than the other, and the mom guilt of, you can't handle this, you can't do this, I don't know why God gave you two babies. Like, you're gonna hurt them. They're gonna be hurt. They're gonna hate you. They're gonna grow up to despise you. They're never gonna want to be around you. You're just, you're horrible. You're lazy. So then I never would like sit down, because like when the thoughts of being lazy started to creep in, it was like, I'm not lazy, I'm not lazy. So if I gotta go pump again, I'm gonna go pump. But when you're pumping, you're sleepy, you're so freaking tired. And so I'd be falling asleep while pumping, and then you're looking at your body, and your body is not your body. It doesn't look like your body. And then you're looking at your lifestyle. I'm waking up every day, somewhat same time, somewhat different time. Still, like I said, lack of sleep, and I'm not eating. So when they brought me some food, it was like, thank God, like, thank you. Because I am cooking for myself somewhat in between the times of like pamper changes and holding a baby and trying to pump breast milk, because I'm only producing a little bit because I'm stressed and I'm not sleeping. And I didn't have my stuff in my house at one point in time, so it was like I was sleeping on an air mattress that kept deflating, and then their father wasn't really helpful. He wasn't showing up. He wasn't communicating. He was trying to argue with me. He wanted what he wanted, and I had to cut that off, because I was like, you're not here for them, and I don't need someone that's not here for them, because I know, like, with all the thoughts in my head, I was like, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. And I'm gonna hurt myself because I feel like I'm not enough. And I'm trying to be enough for them. And these are reoccurring thoughts that are telling you, yeah, you're not enough. You know you're not enough. You know that they need more. You know they deserve more. You know you can't offer them more. Why did you have them? Why did you bring them into this? Why? And I'm talking low because everyone in the house is asleep and I don't want them hearing. Because that trip around the United States was because I have a love for traveling. I have a love for sightseeing. I wanted to do something with my kids that didn't involve us just walking to the back side of the house to the same park that they've ran around 30 times. They deserve more. And I had said that I had always wanted to do it. I'd been saying it since 2021. I don't want to be that mom who keeps saying I'm going to do stuff and don't do it. And I never wanted to talk about it because I was scared. And that when I started learning more about it, they said that most moms don't talk about postpartum depression because they're scared. They're scared of you judging us. They're scared of CPS thinking that we're unfit and will take our kids, when I have no reason to think these things. That trip helped me calm the thoughts. It helped silence them. I won't say that they don't pop in every now and then, but it's not to that magnitude of like if someone was shouting at you and they're just constantly talking down to you. It's not as bad. And I really needed help, and I was afraid to receive it, because most of the time when you need help, people do want to hear why. That's my why. So after the trip, I'm feeling I'll say 9 times better. I love kids, but when I started driving around, I realized why that mom jumped in Niagara Falls. I realized why some moms end up going through the act, because if those thoughts happen from the time that you give birth, or 2 weeks of after you give birth, for up to 2 years, and you're constantly hearing these things just talk down to you, and it's your own mind. it's hard to fight because you can't separate. You can't say, I'm no longer going to be around you because of this. So I stayed away from as many people as possible just because I couldn't afford to have any negative experiences because I was already having a negative experience within myself. I never would hurt my kids.